I have a complicated relationship when it comes to the Pokemon franchise. On one hand, these games, anime, and merchandise controlled a large portion of my life. I've sunk probably hundreds of dollars into games, plushies of characters, that I still buy, by the way. Hell, I still have this book that I technically stole from the library because I forgot about it after like 3 months. On the other hand, I hate how the potential of this franchise is squandered away to a yearly release cycle. We quite literally get the exact same game released twice almost every year, and all we can do about it is cry. It's nearly undeniable at this point that all of Pokemon's best aspects exist outside of the original start of the franchise, the games. Pokemon is a lot more fun to interact with as art, animation, or merchandise instead of the games because the games are so limited for a franchise so large. Look at how cool this animation of Pikachu is, how alive this 2D creature feels, and then you get in game and you get this shit. And let's not even talk about Twinkle Tackle, or what they did to Typhlosion, or an animation of a legendary Pokemon turning around on a home console release. I'm getting off topic. So when Pokemon Legends Arceus was announced, my expectations were as low as possible. And honest to God, when that trailer came on, oh, wow. I don't know how to describe the emotion I felt hearing that somber music play as an insanely terrible looking game was being shown to me, but there was a lot of laughter and a lot of, wow, this looks like shit. But the one thing that actually excited me was the potential this game had. Through the terrible look and the lag and the awful animations, we were shown a really interesting concept and mechanics entirely new to the Pokemon franchise. It was a breath of fresh air 15 years overdue. While extremely hesitant about the game, especially with my thoughts on the remakes, I was excited for something new to take place in the Pokemon franchise. Fast forward a few months, and when the game initially came out, I was on vacation and all I had to go off of reception-wise was Twitter saying this game was really good. And trusting Twitter on any opinion is reckless, to say the least. So I got home, bought the game, and I can confidently confirm that this is the best Pokemon game ever made, and the bar is so fucking low it might as well be underground. For years, I'd never described any of the Pokemon games as good outside of the pretense of being a Pokemon game. You can rate all these games in tier lists as much as you want, but compare any Pokemon game to other games in its genre, and Pokemon will come up short 9 times out of 10. It's something that's always baffled me. Like, you look at other Nintendo franchises, Mario had a contender for Game of the Year, Zelda had a literal Game of the Year, Pokemon during this time period gets a like 5 out of 10 Pokemon game, and like a 3 out of 10 game, if we're being honest. I'll talk about this more in a future video, but this is the first time that a Pokemon game is genuinely just a good game outside of being a good Pokemon game. Obviously it has flaws, which I'll talk about, but I want to give some praise first because damn, Game Freak, it took long enough. The gameplay is the best part of the game. For years I've dreamed about a Pokemon game that is genuinely open world, that allows me to genuinely interact with the mechanics of the franchise in a true 3D environment. We got just the tiniest taste of that in Sword and Shield, but this game makes the wild area look like a tech test, or I guess feel like a tech test because they both kind of look bad. Regardless, you know how other YouTubers usually like finish games and then talk about them in a video? I haven't finished this game. I don't think I'm even really that far yet. I've just spent so much time running around catching Pokemon in the wild. It's some of the most fun I've had playing a Pokemon game ever. The style of gameplay in this game speeds up everything tenfold. One of the largest issues I have with what I'm now going to refer to as traditional Pokemon is that you progress by being interrupted constantly from interacting with the world. You move 3 squares, stop to either fight a trainer or run away from a wild Pokemon, and then begin moving again. It's fun for the first 30 minutes, but by the end of a playthrough, you're maxed on repels just trying to steamroll trainers so you can finish the game. In Legends Arceus, everything is pretty much seamless. You can literally just walk up to a Pokemon, chuck a ball at them, and start doing other things while you wait for the Pokeball to actually catch your Pokemon. I never expected to enjoy doming Pokemon on the head as much as I do, but hey, there's a first time for everything. Hell, even when you do get into a battle, you can actually move around and control the camera yourself, which is something that I'm probably going to cry over when we go back to the same behind the Pokemon camera angle bullshit. This is crazy. This is massive for this franchise, and I can't believe I'm saying that this is massive. Speaking of battling Pokemon, we are truly one step away from battling Pokemon like they're Dark Souls bosses, and I really couldn't be happier. Running from regular Pokemon, dodging around alpha Pokemon, dealing with the rampaging Pokemon, these are all insane to actually experience in a franchise like this compared to what I'm used to. Also, a little off topic, but the rampaging Pokemon give us some of the coolest cutscenes in the franchise. It's nice to see these bosses actually feel imposing instead of just being stone statues in other games. Animations throughout the game are usually pretty good. Battling animations are interesting and feel impactful. There's a lot of cool cool idle animations, the Pokemon actually react to some things, and being able to throw them out and watch them interact with each other is a lot of fun. Massive missed opportunity to not have them follow you around though. I'd honestly say the quality of life updates introduced into this game actually bring Pokemon into the modern age. The EXP share is actually a good addition for this game because the battling isn't the main concept and you don't notice Game Freak's god-awful balancing. Changing out my Pokemon's moves is so simple. I get a text box saying that a Pokemon had an idea for a move, and then I can just free swap them right from the menu. When my Pokemon evolve, the game just says, hey, it can evolve, and then I can decide if I want the Pokemon to evolve or not without being forced into the evolution screen and having to press B every level if I don't want the Pokemon to evolve yet. If there's anything that Game Freak should keep from Legends through to Gen 9, it's these changes. Please, I am begging you, Game Freak. Story-wise, it's pretty okay, I don't know. I'm not finished with it, so keep that in mind, but the fastest way I can describe it is that it starts out as like an Attack on Titan isekai, where you become this OP main character that is god tier at catching and training Pokemon by joining the Survey Corps. The characters aren't too bad, and you get a lot of interesting dialogue where people genuinely try to warn you about the dangers of Pokemon. A religion centered around a specific Pokemon makes sense, and overall, while I'm not really into the game for the story, it's a Pokemon game, so you really shouldn't expect much, unfortunately. I'm still looking forward to playing the rest of this game and catching a bunch of Pokemon. With the praise out of the way, I can get into the bad parts of this game. I've mentioned it quite a few times throughout this video, but this game looks absolutely awful. I'm not one to judge a game entirely on its graphics, but I'm pointing this out because it's something that I'm constantly reminded of every single moment I'm playing this game. It's not that the graphics are bad. There's plenty of games with quote-unquote bad graphics that look great because of their art style. Legends Arceus just fails on every single front. Like, this is the one Pokemon game that I finally get a free pass to compare to Breath of the Wild, and it's absolutely crazy just how much better Breath of the Wild looks for games that are on the same system, especially because Breath of the Wild turns 5 years old this year. I want to say that Game Freak needs to figure out how to make their lighting look good, but I know that even with good looking lighting, this game would probably still look wonky as fuck, so I'm at the point where I don't even know how to begin to suggest things that would make this look better. I feel like I need to just somehow learn how to make something that looks better and go from there, but I can't do that obviously, so I'll just cry about it, I guess. I don't know. Also, I should say this now, the graphics aren't and shouldn't be a deal breaker for you to play this game. Like, yes, it looks bad, that's extremely evident, but there are larger issues with the game that impact the experience infinitely more, and it's not the be-all end-all of the criticisms for this game. As per the norm for Pokemon games, the tutorial is really long and really boring the whole way through. I appreciate that the first time you actually catch a Pokemon, you're the one doing it, and it's not some dude just telling you how to do it, but pretty much everything else about it just kind of sucks. It's necessary, I know, I wish it was more interesting. It's so unfortunate that the best game in the Pokemon franchise, which works because it doesn't interrupt you at every single moment, has an hour-long tutorial that interrupts you constantly before just letting you get into the gameplay, which is the best part of the entire game. I feel like there's massive swaths of land that kind of just go completely unused. I'll commend the game. It does a lot of legwork in filling in Pokemon in areas and adding like some trees and stuff. Maybe some resource deposits to pick up, but for all of those spaces, there's still a lot that are just absolutely empty and filled with like nothing at all. Literally just extra space to run over or like use the Pokemon to run over. Also, while yes, the game does throw Pokemon everywhere, the Pokemon don't really do anything besides just move around and maybe sleep. There's no interaction between them and the environment or even them and themselves. They just sit there doing nothing. Also, small note, but for the love of God, if you're going to try and sell me on Hisuian Typhlosion, show his flames. He looks so dopey and stupid without them. This guy is cool. Trust me. Stop misrepresenting him, Game Freak. I am begging you. You've been doing this for like 3 generations at this point. Just give him his fire all the time. Finally, can we get literally any voice acting at all? There's no voices for any of the dialogue in the game, and it makes all of the cutscenes awkward. Nothing as bad as that one cutscene from Sword and Shield, but I genuinely feel that one of the last things holding this franchise back from properly modernizing, besides the overall look of this game, is that it just makes the weirdest cuts and choices for no other reason besides, well, the old games didn't have voice acting, and this reason always disregards that it works for sprites, worked for realistic chibi 3D, but the second we jumped to home console with fully proportioned characters, it just felt weird and off. And it continues through to this game. I'd honestly even take just like a little "hey" or some sort of voice line for each character. Anything other than just silence with flapping mouths. Other than that, where normally in a Pokemon game I'd have issues with the base game design and difficulty curve, I don't, because they actually took the tiniest leap and tried something different. The EXP share works in this game because it's not about battling. Being over leveled doesn't really matter too much because a lot of the time you're not really. And even when you are, it doesn't matter because battling isn't the main focus of the game. You're either battling solely to capture Pokemon or just to meet the game's checkpoints, making sure you're ready to battle the Pokemon in the area. Also, this game's soundtrack is amazing. If there's one thing that Pokemon games are always insanely good at, it's delivering great music. The battle music goes crazy. This is probably the best wild Pokemon encounter theme we've had, and easily some of the best trainer battle themes we've gotten. The remix of the Warden battle theme is a wonderful remix of the original Elite Four and Gym theme, and honestly my favorite theme in the entire game so far. It's full of hype and makes these little creatures throwing fire at each other all the more impactful. This isn't even mentioning the ambient tracks that play while you're out and about catching Pokemon around the open world. The Midnight theme is absolutely beautiful and carried a truckload of the game's atmosphere. I can't really describe the emotions these tracks make me feel, mostly because they play me for nostalgia, which I am aware of, by the way. I just can't help but fall for it. The best example I can give to describe this is that when I was walking up to the big tree where you fight Cleavor, the Eterna Forest music started playing, and I realized, oh shit, I'm literally in Eterna Forest. That's why this remix is playing. I had to stop and just take a second and soak in what was happening around me. Overall, Pokemon Legends Arceus is hands down the best Pokemon game ever made, and it sucks that the bar really is this low. It is the Pokemon game that best executes the gameplay and mechanics it's set out to present to you, and an extreme breath of fresh air for the entire franchise going forward. The dynamic battle camera, open world format, and battle mechanics are things that I feel like people have been asking for years, and now that they're finally here, I can't imagine the franchise going back and removing those things without it being a massive deal. But knowing Game Freak, I really wouldn't put it past them. If you enjoyed the video, click on an end screen to take you to another and subscribe because I'm like this close to hitting 60k.